In the year 1221, during the Mongol invasion of the Khwarezmian Empire, the army of Genghis Khan laid siege to the Persian city of Nishapur. During the fighting, his grandson Toghachar, the son of Tolui, was killed by an arrow. This enraged Genghis Khan to the highest echelons because in Mongol culture, the killing of a royal family member demanded severe retaliation. In the aftermath of Nishapur's fall, the Mongols carried out an unwarranted large-scale massacre, leaving no signs of life behind. Persian chroniclers later wrote that the entire population was killed and claimed the death toll reached around 1.7 million. Modern historians also agree that the destruction was extensive and the killing systematic. The city was irreparably devastated, and its fall became a warning across Central Asia that the resistance to the Mongols could mean total annihilation. However, this was just one of the many examples of Genghis Khan and his fellow Mongols' brutality. Making mountains of human skulls was the afterparty of every conquest campaign, and mass executions after resistance became a tradition. But never ever during talks like these did anyone ever explain the rationale behind all these expansions and massacres carried out by Genghis Khan and his fellow Mongols. I mean, it's understandable that conquest was the standard at that time, but what made them wipe out millions of people in a cold-hearted way? Was it their nature? If yes, then who shaped this nature? Who actually are the Mongols, and what is their history? Today, we'll learn it concisely. Chapter 1. Prehistoric Mongols. The story of the Mongols begins long before recorded history, in the vast, unforgiving steppes of Central Asia. Prehistoric Mongols were part of a broader group of nomadic peoples who inhabited the Mongolian Plateau, a region characterized by extreme climates, scorching summers, bone-chilling winters, and endless grasslands interspersed with mountains and deserts. Archaeological evidence suggests that human presence in this area dates back to the Paleolithic era, around 40,000 years ago, with early inhabitants relying on hunting and gathering for survival. These prehistoric groups were likely Proto-Mongolic or related to Altaic-speaking peoples, ancestors of modern Mongols, Turks, and Tungusic tribes. They lived in small, mobile bands, following herds of animals like wild horses, sheep, and deer. Tools from this period, unearthed in sites like the Orkhon Valley and the Gobi Desert, include stone axes, arrowheads, and rudimentary pottery, indicating a hunter-gatherer lifestyle that gradually transitioned to pastoral nomadism around 3000 to 2000 BCE with the domestication of horses and livestock. By the Bronze Age, circa 2000 to 1000 BCE, these nomads had developed more sophisticated metallurgy, crafting weapons and ornaments from bronze and later iron. Burial mounds, known as kurgans, reveal a society with emerging social hierarchies, leaders buried with horses, chariots, and weapons, suggesting warfare and raids were common. Shamanism beliefs were prevalent, with rituals involving animal sacrifices and sky worship laying the groundwork for later spiritual traditions. At its core, shamanism was not a structured religion, but a spiritual practice rooted in animism, the belief that nature is alive with spirits. In shamanism, a practitioner named shaman acted as an intermediary between the human and spirit worlds, entering altered states of consciousness, often through trance, to communicate with spiritual forces. The purpose of these rituals was practical as well as sacred, to seek healing, perform divination, protect the tribe, or channel spiritual energies into the physical world for the benefit of the community. This is the prehistoric foundation that shaped the Mongols' resilience and adaptability. Living in a land where resources were scarce forced constant movement and competition, fostering a warrior ethos. Climate fluctuations, such as droughts, often led to migrations and conflicts with neighboring groups, including early Chinese settlements to the south. These early Mongols weren't a unified people yet, but a mosaic of tribes, setting the stage for the cultural evolution that would eventually produce figures like Genghis Khan. Chapter 2. Who are the Mongols? The Mongols, as a distinct ethnic and cultural group, began to coalesce around the first millennium CE, emerging from a blend of nomadic tribes in the Mongolian steppes. They are an Altaic-speaking people, with their language belonging to the Mongolic family, closely related to those of the Buryats, Kalmyks, and other Central Asian nomads. In simple words, Mongolic language was the mixture of ancient Proto-Mongolic dialects, Proto-Turkic elements, and loanwords from Siberian and Central Asian peoples. Genetically and culturally, they trace roots to prehistoric steppe dwellers, influenced by interactions with Scythians, Xiongnu, a powerful nomadic confederation often seen as Proto-Mongol or Hunnic, and later Turkic empires like the Gökturks. The start of Mongol culture was deeply tied to pastoral nomadism, which became their economic backbone by the 6th to 10th centuries CE. Herding sheep, goats, horses, cattle, and yaks provided food, clothing, felt from wool, and transportation. The ger, or yurt, a portable tent made from felt and wood, symbolized their mobility, easy to assemble and disassemble as families followed seasonal pastures. This lifestyle demanded self-sufficiency. Men hunted and fought, women managed households and livestock, and children learned riding and archery from a young age. Traditions emphasized communal living within clans or oboks, and tribes governed by oral laws and customs. Hospitality was sacred. Refusing a traveler shelter could invite divine wrath. Tengrism formed the spiritual core, venerating Tengri, the eternal blue sky, as the supreme deity, alongside nature spirits. Rituals involved ovo, or stone cairns for offerings, and shamans, bu, mediated between worlds through trances and animal symbolism, like the wolf as a totemic ancestor. Heritage was preserved through epic oral poetry, such as the Secret History of the Mongols, compiled in the 13th century but drawing on older tales, which recounted myths of divine origins, like the union of a blue wolf and a fallow doe birthing the first Mongol ancestors. Music, with horsehead fiddles, or morin hur, and throat singing, celebrated battles and nature. Warfare was integral. Tribes raided for resources, and blood feuds, or anda, or sworn brotherhoods, bound alliances. Socially, Mongols valued merit over birthright, though khans, leaders, emerged from noble lines. Women held significant status, often advising in councils and even fighting. By the 12th century, fragmentation into tribes like the Merkits, Tatars, and Karatites defined them, until unification under Genghis Khan. Chapter number 3. Genghis Khan. Genghis Khan, born Temujin around 1162 CE, was a psychological enigma, a visionary strategist whose mind blended ruthless pragmatism, innovative leadership, and a quest for universal dominion. Orphaned young after his father, a minor chieftain, was poisoned by rivals. In his early years, Temujin endured slavery, betrayal, and tribal exile. These hardships forged his worldview that trust was rare, loyalty paramount, and weakness fatal. His mind was tactical genius incarnate. Unifying the Mongols in 1206 CE, he dismantled tribal hierarchies, promoting based on merit, which means now commoners could rise to generals through their skills. He adopted technologies from conquered foes, Chinese siege engines, Persian administration. Military reforms created a decimal system, units of 10, 100, 1,000 for agile armies, emphasizing speed, deception, and intelligence networks. Psychologically, Genghis was driven by vengeance and destiny. The Secret History portrays him as divinely ordained, guided by Tengri. Yet he was pragmatic, tolerant of religions. His brutality, ordering the 1221 massacre of 1.7 million in Nishapur after a son's death, was calculated terror, but he spared artisans and scholars for their utility. Genghis's mind envisioned a world empire, conquering from Korea to Hungary by 1227. He killed millions through campaigns in China, Central Asia, and beyond, viewing death as a tool. Yet he built lasting institutions, and trade flourished under Pax Mongolica, connecting East and West. Dying in 1227 from a fall or illness, Genghis's legacy reflects a complex psyche,
traumatized survivor turned unifier whose innovations caused unprecedented destruction but also cultural exchange. His mind wasn't mad but masterful, adapting nomadic ferocity to global scale.